As our nation reflects on the history and contributions of Black Americans during the month of February, we thought it particularly appropriate to review the tumultuous past with regard to the journey of opening up our school district to everyone in our community. Our community of Mansfield, Texas, here on the grounds of the old Mansfield High School. I'm Dylan Ford.
And I'm Kaylee Wilson. If you weren't born or raised here in Mansfield, then you're probably unaware of our city, more specifically our school district's storied past. In 1954, Mansfield School Board segregated the black students to an inferior school known as the Mansfield Colored School. It was located on West Broad Street, where the Bethlehem Baptist Church now stands. It had no electricity, no running water, and no plumbing. There was one teacher for grades 1 through 8.
When black students completed 8th grade, they were not allowed to attend Mansfield High School. Black teenagers who wanted to continue their education were obliged to ride public buses, which dropped them 20 blocks from I.M. Terrell Negro School in Fort Worth.
In 1954, the United States Supreme Court decided to end segregation by their landmark ruling, Brown versus Board of Education. In that August, Mansfield School Board was petitioned, but the petition was denied. And then the following year, they were petitioned again by the black students who wanted to attend Mansfield High School, and the petition was denied.
In 1956, in response to a suit brought by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People on behalf of 3 black students, the Mansfield School District was the first in the state ordered by a federal court to desegregate. The Mansfield School Board resisted, aided by the complicity of the mayor and the chief of police.
While other Texas schools quietly desegregated that fall, our school district had a mob of 300 to 400 whites right on these grounds, preventing the 3 blacks from enrolling.
During demonstrations, whites hung black students in effigy. They further threatened even the sheriff, barring anyone that came into town that even resembled a sympathizer to integration.
Governor Allen Shivers, calling the Mansfield protest an orderly process, defied any federal court orders and sent Texas Rangers out to keep segregation in our schools.
President Dwight D. Eisenhower, in the midst of a re-election, did not intervene.
The demonstrations ended when African-American parents decided to keep their children from these mobs. The Mansfield Uprising was the nation's first ever clear example of a failure to enforce a federal court order for the desegregation of a public school. In 1965, faced with loss of federal funds, the Mansfield School District quietly desegregated.
We spoke with Dr. Michael Evans, pastor of the Bethlehem Baptist Church and current member of the Mansfield School Board, about how far he really thinks that our district has progressed as a community and as a people. Given Mansfield's struggle with desegregation in the 1950s and 60s, how far do you think our community really has come?
I think we've come a long way, a very long way. I've been here myself in this area for 22 years. Served at the Bethlehem Church for 20 of those years, and I can tell you that even in the span of a generation now, almost, we've made some great strides. I think you can see it immediately on our school board. Our school board is the most diverse in the area. We're more diverse than Arlington, as a matter of fact. We see it throughout our school system, and I think that that says quite a bit. We are continuing to move forward. We're facing some of the ghosts from our past in regard to issues of racism and the like. And we have so many people in the area, of course, who's not familiar with our, with our history, but are now coming face to face with that, and that's a good thing.
I'm going to go to the history of Mansfield real quick. I'm really curious how they dealt with being, because I read that they would just be taunted, and there's crosses that were burned, and how did they cope with that, and like how did that bring them more together, or?
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, it did. In 1955, of course, right here in Mansfield, a gentleman by the name of T.M. Moody had some would say the audacity to attempt to desegregate Mansfield High School. And he was hanged in effigy. What happened was there were groups in regard to the mob. And there was a mob of people that said, we're going to come down there and we're going to kill him. And there was a response. The response was, well, you come. And if you come get him, you're going to have to take quite a few of us with you. And what it did was just that. It did bring a community together. In a negative way, you see, but also in a positive way. It tied them together. And then also bear in mind necessity for the fact that people had to feed their families. So there was a lot of the taunting that they had to take in regard to sharecropping, which most of the individuals were doing. And there would be times that at the end of the season, they knew they were being cheated, but because they had to feed their children, take care of their families, they had to take it. You know, you had to take deep breaths because there was no other outlet. They felt that there were no other individuals who would plead their case.
The courts did eventually let the black students attend Mansfield High School, but how has the attitude of the Mansfield School Board changed?
Now it's more of a matter of understanding and relationship building. You know, when you get to know people, you discover that people are people, and that for our community, we want the best for our children. We want safety and security in our homes, and I think those are shared values. So yes, I do believe that MISD is saying that, and we see that in hiring. You know, as our staffs are becoming more and more diverse, and we're becoming more aggressive in making sure that you as students have a more diverse pool of teachers and instructors.
Mansfield citizens all have hopes and dreams for their children. Dr. Michael Evans shares his hopes and dreams for his children.
My hope is that we become so melded together as a community that we get uncomfortable anytime we even hear something that sounds, if you would, intolerant toward any person, no matter who they are, no matter where they are from. That's my hope. My hope is that we continue to keep and work hard at leveling out the playing field, that my children's friends now, who of course, you know, are from, in regard to their ethnic origins, from everywhere, that remains, you know, that way. And that we as parents, we learn to accept that, and we learn to get along better, and also to accept that this is a new day, and celebrate diversity. Celebrate diversity. That's who we are. That makes us strong as Americans, is that we are not all the same, and that because of our differences, we really set the tone and set the pace for the entire world. That's my hope for my kids.
So where do we go from here? How do we move forward as a community?
When we celebrate our differences, but also we celebrate the fact that we have common goals, we have a commonality that binds us together, and the building of relationships, you see, makes our society better. We come together when we see that whereas we have differences, but then we also are common. You know, as I mentioned, we all want safety, we all want security, we all want the best education that we can get for our children. Then that just makes us better. The more I get to know you, and the more you get to know me, or the better, then we are the better for that. That makes us who we are. You know, e pluribus unum. You know, out of all we are one.